Good day to all of you, and God bless you too. My name is Dr. Alex British Chinedu Ekwesi Tasie. Nwa nda agba ohia, nwa nda agba nta. My father, during his days on earth, was a great traditional hunter. He was famous for that in my community and some other neighboring communities too. I am very proud that I am his son. He was materially poor, but traditionally strong. I am from Igbo ancient kingdom in Ikwerre land, which is in River State of Nigeria, West Africa. I am a writer, a musician, a filmmaker, a football coach, a historian, and also a multi-dimensional thinker. I am also a proud, self-appointed, self-acclaimed president of the Nigerian semi-educated people. The people in Nigeria that you say and think are not well-educated people, are not highly educated people. I am a proud, self-appointed, self-acclaimed president of those people in Nigeria. I am a prominent, respected, and pronounced historian from Ikwerre land who is sufficiently informed about the background history of Ikwerre people. And I am popularly called Professor of Native Intelligence. I want to use this medium to appeal to my Ikwerre people, especially to the kind-hearted Ikwerre people, kind-hearted Ikwerre people, for assistance. I am aware that some Nigerian ethnic groups tell their stories, display and showcase their cultural practices, their core values to the people of the world through music, through films. The Igbo people, Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, the Efiks, the Ibibios, and even the Anans tell their stories, display their cultural practices, tell the world who they are through music and through films. And so, they established film and music industries where their talented people use those industries to tell their stories and to tell the world who they are. And I think that Ikwerre people should follow suit, where we tell our stories laced with our core values, our traditional elements that tie us together as a people, to the people of the world. We are through music, through films, we tell the world the things we do and how we live our life collectively as a people. And so, I appeal to kind-hearted Ikwerre people to assist, provide me and my team some studio equipment, film and music equipment, so that we can take off. I have already built the studio. What we want now are the instruments, the equipment, so that we can begin to produce films, music that will tell our stories. And I think it will also become an opportunity for some of our talented people to showcase their talents and make out dearly. So I appeal to kind-hearted, well-meaning, resource, based Ikwerre people to assist. We will not let you people down, and we will also appreciate your goodwill to us. In case you want to reach out to me to assist, the phone number is +234 806 369 3609, and that is also my WhatsApp number. In case you want to make a donation, the account details are Access Bank 0000551714 with the name Alex British Tasie. In case you want to come and personally, physically see the studio, you are welcome. It is located in Igbo town, Ikwerre local government area of River State of Nigeria, West Africa. America, as I anticipate your understanding and your goodwill. The topic that I have here to talk about is a topic that so many people who are Ikwerre people and who are not Ikwerre people are not aware of it. This topic that I want to treat now is a topic that I know that is not that much in the public space. But for deep research and investigation, it would have been difficult to unveil, to unearth this particular issue. So I want to present you the opportunity to know about what I want to talk about now. And the topic of this episode is the atrocities, the crimes, the offenses that Igbo people committed against Ikwerre people in the past. The atrocities, the crimes, the offenses that the people Ikwerre people call Isoma people, Igbo people, committed against Ikwerre people in the past. And I am aware that so many people, both Ikwerre, Igbo, and those who are not from these two divides, are not aware of what I want to talk about here. Quite commonly, you see so many Ikwerre people say that they are not Igbo people. You see so many Ikwerre people distance themselves from Igbo affairs. There are reasons to that. You see an Ikwerre person, you ask him or her, are you an Igbo person? The person tells you no. There is a reason for that. And so many people are not aware of the reason or the reasons behind why an Ikwerre person says that he or she is not an Igbo person. And some Ikwerre people too say that Ikwerre land is not part of the Igbo ethnic group. There are reasons, but some of them are not aware of the reasons why they say what they say. And that is why many of them cannot defend what they say when they are confronted by Igbo people. Ikwerre people are generally disgruntled, displeased, unhappy, vexed, slighted, infuriated, angry, eyed, umbraged, dejected with the Igbo. They are not happy with Igbo people. And so, in their melancholy, they express their disappointment and their displeasure. The reason is that in the past, not too far, the people Ikwerre people call Isoma people, Igbo people, committed some atrocities against Ikwerre people. And that, of course, is the reason why so many Ikwerre people say that they are not Igbo people. Through the actions carried out by the Igbo in the past against Ikwerre people, Ikwerre people see Igbo people as distant people from them. In the past, the Igbo people who live in Ikwerre land committed some atrocities against Ikwerre people. And some of those actions, Ikwerre people see them as narcissistic, egotic, nefarious, sinister, wicked, repulsive, and in some other cases too, they see those actions as shameful, as ignominious. Some other people also conclude that those actions are repressive, suppressive, oppressive, over-domineering, dominating. And so, all that infuriates, pains Ikwerre people. Those actions carried out in the past against Ikwerre people by the Igbo group infuriate, pain Ikwerre people. A curious-minded person would want to know those offenses that Igbo people committed against Ikwerre people that make Ikwerre people to say that they are not Igbo people. I want the world to know this. From the word go, it was the Igbo group that made Ikwerre people to know, to understand that they are not part of the Igbo group, that they are separate from the Igbo. Through the actions of the Igbo in the past against Ikwerre people, made Ikwerre people to understand, to know that they are not part of the Igbo. And so they began to search for their root, of which they found. It was not initially the Ikwerre group that told the Igbo that Ikwerre and Igbo are not one. It was the actions of the Igbo against Ikwerre people that made Ikwerre people to understand that the Igbo is separate from the Ikwerre group. And make out dearly. As I have said before, a curious-minded person would want to know those actions, those things that Igbo people did in the past against Ikwerre people that infuriate them, that pain them. I want the world to know this, that all that I want to explain happened just recently, from the year of 1957 to the year of 1968, just about 11 or 12 years. I want the world to know this too, that in the long distant past, there was no other ethnic group that lived in Ikwerre land except Ikwerre people. There was no other group of people that lived with Ikwerre people in the long distant past until the period of the 1860s. I want to also let the world know this, that before the evolution of Nigeria in the year of 1914, and even before the creation of regions in Nigeria, I think the 1950s, every ethnic group, every nationality in what we call them the eastern region of Nigeria lived the way it wanted without interference from another ethnic group. There was no political control of any kind. There was no domination. There was no encumbrance from any other group. People lived freely to do what they wanted to do. In the case of Ikwerre people, they were not in isolation anyway, because they established trade, commercial, or business relations with some of their neighbors close to them, especially the Mbom people, the Okrika and Kalabari people. These people are very close to Ikwerre people. Ikwerre people traded freely with them and related harmoniously with them too. They brought in salt and fish into Ikwerre land, and Ikwerre land sent palm oil, cassava to them. It was a business of riverine upland business. Before the period of the 1860s, there was no presence of anybody or group called Isoma or Igbo in Ikwerre land. Nobody at all with that epithet, that name, called Isoma. That pseudonym called Isoma, or group of people called Igbo that live in Ikwerre land, until the period of the 1860s, when the Igbo element of Atrocities came with the white people to help the white people raid communities, kidnap people, and gave them to the white people to sell as slaves. So in the period of the 1860s, the Igbo element of Atrocities arrived into Ikwerre land, and the first place that they settled is Ishopo Ancient Kingdom. After the people of Arochukwu came the Mbano. After Mbano came the Ikwerre people. Then the Anambra people, and lastly the Wawa people. What it qualitatively means is that Ikwerre land is an aboriginal property of Ikwerre people and was never a gift from anybody or any group of people. So, from the period of the 1860s to about the year of 1956, the people called Igbo never controlled Ikwerre people, never dominated Ikwerre people, never subjugated Ikwerre people, never suppressed, oppressed, and repressed Ikwerre people. The Igbo people that lived with Ikwerre people in their land respected Ikwerre people and regarded them. They moved their businesses unhindered. They went their ways encumbered. Nobody disturbed them. And they did not disturb anybody too. There was no any Igbo person at that time that had the effrontery, the audacity, the courage to challenge any Ikwerre person in Ikwerre land. It never happened. Because at that time, many of the people who came from Igbo land came as pupils, came as people who came to look for opportunities, greener pastures in Ikwerre land. Because at that time, Ikwerre land was called Ebocha. Ebocha is a name the Igbo gave to this part of Nigeria. You know why? Because at that time, there were so many white people that settled in Ikwerre land, especially in Ishopo, later in Redisi. Ebe ndi Ocha bi, the place where white people live. That is what Ebocha means. Ebocha is a name the Igbo gave as a guy name to Ikwerre land, to Port Harcourt. Ebe Ocha, Ebe ndi Ocha bi. They were coming at that time from the hinterland. At the time I am talking about, Ikwerre people never established business relations with the Igbo because they were very far off from Ikwerre people. So the Igbo people that live in Ikwerre land with Ikwerre people never interfered in the political process of Ikwerre people, in the economic process of Ikwerre people. They minded their businesses. It never happened. So Ikwerre people lived with them convivially and cordially. Many of them that lived in Ikwerre land feared Ikwerre people because at that time there were so many rich Ikwerre people. There were government workers, court interpreters and clerks. There were slave dealers. There were big fisher people and also farmers. From the year of 1894 to about the year of 1936, there were more than 38-story buildings in Ikwerre land, built of bond bricks. The people were very, very rich. And so they bought so many people who are not from Ikwerre as slaves and brought them into Ikwerre land and make dearly. So there was no Igbo person that had the effrontery to challenge any Ikwerre person at that time, because many of them came into Ikwerre to look for business and economic opportunities. But see, everything changed. In the year of 1957, the Igbo people who lived with Ikwerre people harmoniously, who respected and regarded Ikwerre people as their hosts, changed character in the year of 1957. That year is a special year because it introduced Western or modern politics into Ikwerre land, and also the Eastern regional environment was created. What we call Eastern region was created. The Igbo who lived with Ikwerre people, who respected Ikwerre people, who regarded Ikwerre people as their hosts, changed in character suddenly, abruptly, because politics had been introduced into Ikwerre land by the Igbo. The NCNC was founded and headed by the patriarch, Pa Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of blessed memory. He brought NCNC into Ikwerre land through Dr. Michael Opara of blessed memory. Principally, two prominent Ikwerre children brought NCNC into Ikwerre land. And at that time, they were people like the late King Jackson Aleruchi Mpe and the late Chief John Amabebe Nsiri, all from Ishopo Ancient Kingdom. So the Igbo brought politics. When NCNC came, it even eclipsed, swallowed a party in existence in the East called the Niger Delta Party, founded and owned by Pa Dapa Birie from Cameroon and Michael Diallo. So the Igbo brought in politics. Then region was also created. When Eastern region was created, Port Harcourt City, that was the unofficial capital of almost every Igbo person at that time, became stripped of its status in Nigeria. After Calabar, the next capital that emerged in this area became Port Harcourt. And Port Harcourt even eclipsed Calabar because it emerged as a hydrocarbon, and commercial environment in Nigeria. It became the most lucrative city in the whole of southern Nigeria. Oil was found, wharf and harbor developed. It became a thriving city and a beehive of commercial activities in the East. The Igbo stripped Port Harcourt of its status and moved the capital to Enugu, the heart of the Igbo. And that is what I call demographic consideration. The politics of number made the architects of the creation and mobilization of the eastern region of Nigeria to move the city from Port Harcourt to Enugu to become the capital of the different eastern region of Nigeria. So the Igbo who lived with Ikwerre land, in the Ikwerre land, and with Ikwerre people all along changed. Because it dawned on them that they were now in charge of politics in the region and also government in the region. Politics was brought in by the Igbo, and the headquarters of the region taken to Igbo land. What it meant was that the Igbo controlled politics in the region and also government in the region. So they changed. They began to let down Ikwerre people and some other groups that they lived. They began new programs and plots of domination, control, and subjugation. The Igbo expressed that they had earlier in mind an ambition to suppress and control the people of Ikwerre land, but lacked the economic power and also the political power to achieve their ambitions before the emergence of politics and the creation of regions in Nigeria. So when politics came and Eastern region was created, it became the right opportunities that they wanted to achieve what they really had in mind to achieve. And that was domination. So they changed in character. They began to play the role of the boss. They saw other groups as very small because they had the number at that time in the region. From the year of 1957 to about the year of 1970, only the Igbo people reached about 10 million people. In the year of 1970, reached about 10 million people. Only the Igbo in the east, and the rest of the groups in the eastern region of Nigeria were about 5 to 6 million people. So they used their population to dominate the rest of the groups that are very, very small. That was what happened. The crux of this matter, which so many people are curiously waiting to hear, is what are the offenses the Igbo people committed against Ikwerre people that make Ikwerre people to be sad, to be angry with the Igbo and the cow dearly. Whatever I am going to state here, I am going to say here is what really happened, what is called a fact. It will not be interesting and nice for you to begin to abuse or curse or get angry. No. To help me, what is required of you is to also make your own investigation and see if what I am saying here is a lie or the truth. During the period of eastern region of Nigeria, many Ikwerre people wanted to send their children to the white man's school, especially primary school. Many well-to-do Ikwerre people, big-time farmers and fisher people, wanted to send their children to school, but they were discouraged to do that by the Igbo who lived with them in Ikwerre land. Igbo people living in Ikwerre land told Ikwerre people that it was a wasted venture for an Ikwerre person to send his children to school. That rather it would be profitable to send his children to the farm instead of the white man's school. And so many Ikwerre people believed them and did not send their children to the white man's school. They made Ikwerre people to see Western education as a nonsense investment, whereas palm wine tappers, block molders, masons, bicycle repairers from Igbo living in Ikwerre land were sending their own children to school. A people you call your people, you deceive them not to send their children to school, whereas you are sending your own children to school. A people who speak the language that you speak, who have some similarities in culture with you, you still see them as separate people and give them bad advice. That is number one. Number two, during the era of the defunct eastern region of Nigeria, many Igbo people represented Ikwerre communities as councillors. Many Igbo people were elected as councillors in Ikwerre land to represent Ikwerre people in government. For example, in a community called Igbo, one Mr. Okoronkwo from Arochukwu became the first person to become a councillor. After him came another person from Ikwerre. It was very difficult for Ikwerre people to achieve that level of position in the East at that time. In another man's land, they were begging the Igbo to allow them, present a candidate for grassroots election. The people you call your people, part of you. Number three, at the Choba customary court, Igbo people outnumbered Ikwerre people in that court as grassroots, or what we call customary court judges. They were more in number. Number four, it came at a time when a secondary school was built in Ikwerre land in the year of 1957 called County Grammar School Ikwerre Eche. And as a new school, there was need to look for a premier principal to head the school. Igbo people brought in one of their children called Ozoma from Mbiri. to become the head of that school as principal, Ikwerre people approached the Igbo in Enugu and pleaded that they should be allowed to bring the principal of that school, since the school is situated in Ikwerre land. The leadership of NCNC and the authorities of the region objected, refused. Ikwerre people moved again in mass with their chiefs. It became a talk of war. They said Ikwerre people didn't have at that time qualified people. But the late Mr. John Emeju Owochukwu, who enrolled into the premier university called the University College of Ibadan in the year of 1948, had graduated and was ready to serve. But the Igbo didn't want him. In the end, through the resilience and resoluteness of Ikwerre people, Emeju Owochukwu triumphed and became the first principal of Country Grammar School, Ikwerre. After him, the challenge also came again. Ikwerre people defeated that challenge, and the late Mr. C.C. Obara from Igbo community became the next principal of County Grammar School, Ikwerre. In another man's land, a people you say are part of you. Then it came again when there was need for someone to represent Ikwerre people in what was called at that time the election of the upper house of legislature, what we call today the Federal House of the Representatives. Ikwerre people projected one of their children from Redisi. The Igbo and the leadership of the party called NCNC disqualified that person on the grounds that he was not a pronounced person and that he was not educated too. The people said, okay, since that is the problem, we are going to fix it. They rallied among themselves, taxed themselves, contributed money, and brought back home one of their children who had graduated from a big, notable university in England as a lawyer, and also called to the British bar in the year of 1959, called the late Chief Barrister Nwobidike Nwanode Sam, to contest the election. When he arrived, Ikwerre proceeded him to Enugu and showed him to Dr. Akano Abia, who was the governor of the region at that time, and Sir Michael Obara, the premier of the region at that time. They all disagreed. This time, given the reason that he was too young. After all the sacrifice, the pains to bring this man down all the way from England, you are now saying that he is too small. What are we to do? They came back home and met in Ishobu and took a position. Every Ikwerre person should leave NCNC party. If you don't do that, you give them a cow, and they all obliged. Every Ikwerre person left the NCNC party, and Chief Barrister Nwobidike Nwanode became an independent candidate of Ikwerre people against the almighty Elugwaronu from Ayas of Mbise, the candidate of the NCNC for that election. And again, Ikwerre people triumphed. And it became a statement that the Igbo people were in for domination, And so every Ikwerre person should see himself and herself as a separate person from the Igbo and make out dearly. I am an uncommon historian and also an oracle, a storehouse of Ikwerre's history and make out dearly. That election became an eye-opener to Ikwerre people that the people called Igbo people, were in for suppression, for subjugation, for domination. Nwabidike Wanode triumphed and he became elected as a candidate of Ikwerre and represented Ikwerre people in Lagos State. After that, another election came as to who to become the mayor of Port Harcourt City in the early 1960s. Ikwerre people brought one of their children to contest that election from Rebisi. The NCNC party again objected, disagreed. Instead, what the NCNC party and the leadership of the Eastern region of Nigeria did was to go and bring out one of their children from Oguta in the name of the late Chief Nzimiro for that election, and finally emerged to become the first mayor of Port Harcourt City, the first local government chairman of Port Harcourt City. When his tenure ended and there came another round of election, Ikwerre people brought another of their children, another of their child, and presented him for that election. The Igbo again objected. They disagreed. What they did instead was to go and bring the late Chief Francis Nhekwaba from Ikwerre community to become the second mayor of Port Harcourt City in another man's land. Visitors, strangers that came because opportunity had come their way. They used that opportunity to control, to dominate, to suppress the people they lived with in their land. Quite absurd, quite incongruous too. Does it sound nice to you? All these things that I am listing, do they sound nice to you? No. In another man's land, you do not want their people to represent, their area in election. You deprive them of every opportunity available. You impose your own people. And you say you are one. How? How? Then, it came again when the leadership of the Eastern region of Nigeria, as headed by the late Chief Lewis Ojukwu, who was at that time the chairman of NCNC party, because at that time the late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe had relinquished his position for that of Governor General of Nigeria. And so Chief Lewis Ojukwu took over the reins of the party as the leader. Then the core leadership, as headed by the late Sir Michael Opara as the premier, and the late Dr. Akano Ibiam as the governor, decided, to initiate a noble cause and that was to expand the city of Port Harcourt and make it a mega city. It was a noble idea, very good. And so, land was needed. The government approached Ikwerre people of Rebisi and Rumeme to take their lands for city expansion and development. What we have today as D-line is majorly a property of the Rebisi people. And what we have today as GRA is majorly a property of the Rumeme people. So they approached those Ikwerre people and dispossessed them of their natural assets in the name of city development and expansion. In the end, after plotting and designing those areas, the beneficiaries became the Igbo people. I challenge anybody who says it is a lie to forward to me at the comment section any Ikwerre person who had a plot of land in what we call today GRA and D-line at the time that I am talking about. The Igbo shared all those areas among themselves and pushed out the natives, the owners of the land, into a slum area they created called Diob. The owners of the land were taken out from the land, and strangers came to occupy. When one of Ikwerre's children from that area of Diob remonstrated, protested, called the late Mr. Obaziolo, he died mysteriously. In another man's land, you collect their lands in the name of city development and expansion. You share it among your people. You now push the natives to a slum area. And you say that they are your people because they speak the same language with you, because they bear the same names as you people bear. You say they are your people. They are not. They are not. That is what it means. By the actions taken against the people means qualitatively that they are not another man's land. Many Ikwerre towns and communities became renamed. They became named after Igbo people. Some other communities that had the preface Romo became changed to Omo. What the Igbo do not know that as there are dialects in every other language in the world, so are dialects found in Ikwerre language. The people of Ropaku, down to what we call about today, Rebisi and all that, use Romo to mean children. And the people of Iguta, down to Omerelu, use what we call Omo to mean children. They all mean the same. So Igbo people began to name many areas in Ikwerre land to suit their tongue. Umokuta, instead of Umokuta, some also called it Amaweke because the arrows took over the whole of that area. Umalelu, instead of Omerelu. Amafo for Emogwa, Amagwa for Omagwa, Ingirita for Iguruta, Adanta initial for Adante, Umokulisi for Umokulisi. They began to use Omo to change almost everything. After the war, when Ikwerre people began to revert to their original names and titles, the Igbo people began to become angry. They began to complain in another man's land. Why are Ikwerre people changing? Using Romo instead of Omo? Why? In another man's land, people who came from a distant area are now asking the indigenous, why they should revert to their original names and titles. Actually, they were in for domination. Just for about 11 to 12 years, if it had lasted up to 30 years, Ikwerre people would have been subdued to the extent that he wouldn't have known anything as Ikwerre. Ikwerre would have been totally subsumed that he can't talk about it. According to Chief Ona Oha Sergeant Awusi, during the discussion of this matter. In another man's land, you are complaining. When it was time to construct the Ikwerre Local Government Council building, as initiated by the late Chief Jackson Aleruchi Mpe, who was at that time the president and paramount ruler of the entire Ikwerre ethnic nationality. Ikwerre people decided to bring one great architect that read abroad. The Igbo objected, instead brought someone from Anambra to do that house. Even the first church in Ishopo, the Anglican church, was constructed by an Igbo person. They took over everywhere. What about scholarship scheme in the East? How did it grow? What about job opportunities in the East? How did they grow? During the war proper, many Igbo people sabotaged Ikwerre people, especially the people of Aruchukwu, who had lived with Ikwerre people long time ago before the arrivals of other Igbo groups. Sabotaged. And told Ikwerre people how they would have treated them if eventually Biafra had won that war. In another man's land, you ill-treat him, you maltreat him, you want to colonize him. During the Nigerian Biafran War, so many Ikwerre people sacrificed their human lives and material property to assist the Igbo actualize Biafra. Every Ikwerre community ran to Igbo land. Ikwerre people were conscripted into the armed forces of Biafra. Many of them served in different capacities in the police. Ikwerre people lost unquantified amount of property to assist the Igbo achieve Biafra. They helped the Igbo to fight Nigeria. After such costly sacrifices, during the war, many Ikwerre people were used as scapegoats. The people that would go to find out where the soldiers of the Nigerian government were hiding, where they hid in the bushes. When they reached the bushes and touched them, they were gunned down by the Nigerian soldiers. And the people who sent them will run away. Your own people, you treat them. According to one of my good friends, who is the HOD of History and Diplomatic Studies, Imo State University, in the person of Professor John Cliff Wadike, during one-on-one discussion, said that it was quite unfortunate the way the soldiers of Biafra treated people of Ikwerre, by believing that every person at that time was going to speak the central language. For those who didn't understand or use the central language, we are seen at that time as the enemy of Biafra, and so many people were hurt, were attacked. Quite unfortunate. Ikwerre people suffered heavily in the hands of the people. These are some of them. The space is not there to tell you all that happened. When you hear an Ikwerre person say, I am not an Igbo person, he or she has his or her reasons. That person might have been told something by his or her parents concerning what happened in the past. And today, many of them hold that grounds against the Igbo. These things happened. It is not enough, as I have said earlier, to say it is a lie because of your sentiment and bias. It is a lie. No. Just help me go and investigate, probe this matter to find out whether it is a lie or it is true. The Igbo committed some atrocities against Ikwerre people. For that brief period of 1957 to 1968, if the war had not happened, according to the late His Royal Majesty, Dr. Frank Eke, if the war had not happened, what would have been the fate of Ikwerre? If for just 11, 12 years, people were treated that way by a people who lived with them for so many years before the emergence of politics and the creation of regional government in Nigeria, would treat them that way. Well, I leave it to your conscience to judge. This is where I come to the end of this topic of program. My job is to unravel, unearth, and thumb important historical matters for consumption and for analysis, and also for study. I want to say, may God Almighty continue to be with you and grant you favors in your life. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Amen.